You ever been told you aren't able to play blackjack somewhere else?
What's that?
Have you ever been told you aren't able to play blackjack somewhere?
No, I'm
Okay, well, first time then. You're no longer allowed to play blackjack here. Neither of you are. You can play any games at blackjack.
I can't play blackjack?
No.
So how do the casinos feel about this?
Oh, they hate it. They hate it. They loathe it.
They know it works, or why do you think that they hate it so much?
The house is trying to protect their games from being taken advantage of. And the blackjack card counters are in there trying to take as big of a cut as they can from those casinos for as long as they can. And so, yeah, they definitely don't like it.
Like, how do they figure out that you're doing this?
So step one is they will monitor the betting patterns of the players in surveillance because, like I told you, blackjack has a lot of scrutiny on the game because they know that blackjack is susceptible to being exploited by card counters. So they'll have people in surveillance monitoring the betting habits, patterns of the customers. And once they identify that, wow, every time the count is at a certain point, this person is betting on average, 5 times larger than their average wager. Yeah, he's going to make profit off us over time. Ban him. And they don't care if you lose or win. That's the misconception about card counting. I had gone into Red Rock and lost $10,000, and when I went to pull more out in their high limit room, they banned me. When I went down to my last, as I was down to my last chip, reaching for more cash, they said, "Sorry, you're too good for us." I just lost $10,000. They said I was too good for them.
Do you is this a process that you go through like every time you come into a casino? Like they got to figure it out, they got to do that stuff? Or do they kind of know you coming in sometimes?
Now they know me coming in. It got to the point where I would walk onto a property and they would have surveillance. Some of the higher end places and regions, they would have surveillance or security like on their headphone. I would see them look at me and then they would look down and then they would kind of like tail me from a distance and then talk to someone else, and they'd walk away and all of a sudden have someone else trailing me, and then they're just keeping an eye on where I go and what I do, and it's just not really comfortable. It's not fun. It might sound like exciting, but at some point it feels like it's really frustrating. Pretty much every place I go in, I sit down and I can't get much time. Mostly only the smaller places I can maybe get an hour, and then they'll ban me.
Are they usually kind of jerks about it, or are they just kind of like, "Hey man, it's over"?
It's hit and miss. In my experience, some of the tribal casinos are, I don't know if I would say jerks, but they try to intimidate you as much as they can. They're playing like a psychological warfare type of game against you, and they're trying to like make sure you never come back because you're afraid to come back.
But it's not technically illegal, right? Like,
not even remotely. As long as you are not using any sort of device or any sort of external help to make your decisions, all I'm doing is betting when I'm allowed to bet. I'm not cheating. I'm not, changing my bet after the result of a hand or doing anything along those lines. So there's nothing illegal at all. There's a bunch of legal precedent that has concluded that no, counting cards is definitely not cheating.
So looking at this, right? Like tell me about this. Like what's happening here?
So this is a time when I used another recreational player as cover, because the person that I was playing with was a regular. Yeah, meaning they'd frequented these places and played in such a way that they were definitely not a card counter. So I made friends with this person, and they allowed me to go in and play with them, and kind of they could fluctuate their bets and follow my instructions. And it basically allowed me, when the casino sees me associated with another regular, and before they know about me, they're not going to be as skeptical. They're not going to be as skeptical about like what I do. Does that make sense? About how I'm betting? Because I'm walking in with another player who, is going to lose money, has lost money over time to them. So eventually I just got too greedy, too ambitious, and spread a little bit too much. And this pit boss got the call, and he walked over and he said something like, have you ever been told you're not allowed to play blackjack somewhere? And I was like, no. I was gonna say, no, I'm drinking. I'm like drinking and just I'm acting like a fun gambler. And then my friend and I had talked about little like pranks or gags to pull on them. And he's like, you should do something really childish, like tell them they can't play blackjack, like act like a little child. And I just didn't really know what to say. So I was like, you can't play blackjack. And then he's like, I can't play blackjack because I work here. I was like, well, I work here. And I just acting just
Right,
for
like,
entertainment.
just to kind of get a rise out of him. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So like, how long would that take? Like, how long did it take him to figure it out?
At this location, I think it took maybe no more than 2 hours, probably between 1 and 2 hours at this exact location. Oh, this one's fun. If you go down,
This one? Okay.
my strategy in the high limit games, this is actually a 100 min game. My strategy in the high limit games are I bring in a friend who I can trust, like with my money, because my intention is to get like kind of like drunk, and I don't want anyone taking advantage of me or anything like that. And the reason I get drunk is because it buys me a lot of extra time, and the edge that I sacrifice, the advantage that I sacrifice is only marginal. I don't make basic strategy mistakes, but there are like small counting mistakes that usually err on like 1 or 2 off. So like I'll think it's +3, but it's +5. But in such an instance, like let's say I think it's +5, but it's actually +3. Either way, I will have an advantage. So basically, as I'm playing, even though I'm drunk, as I'm playing, I'm keeping in mind that like there might be like some chance that this count is slightly lower. And so I'm just always trying to like hedge. Does that make sense? Do you know what hedging is? Yeah. So I'm just kind of always trying to hedge my count. And then at some points you just get such a high count that it doesn't even matter if you're off by a couple, because at a true 13 or 14, your edge is so enormously high that the drunk image allowing you to place some massive, ridiculous bet, like for $1,000 or $1,200, like 2 hands of 600, is worth way more than the fact that it might be a +12 instead of a +15, and that they're going to let you play the next like 10 shoes before they start questioning it. And so I have something on my YouTube where I break down some of the strategies I used. This is a really cool one. So the pit boss tells me to bet big. I ask the pit boss if I should bet big or small when the count is really high. So we have like I don't remember, I think it was +8 or +9. And I asked the pit boss, should I bet big or small? I'm acting like a gambler. And she goes, big, bet big. But I know she's going to tell me to bet big. And at this point in the session, I already know that they're really like, they're watching my bets a lot, because they made a call. They had made a call on like the prior shoe about that I had like upped my bet on like a big count. So now at this point, like kind of the heat's on, but I just want to like squeeze as much value as I can. So I ask the pit boss, big or small. She tells me big. I bet massive. I think I won one, pushed one. The results don't matter. I got a ton of value off of the bet. I won some money on that bet. But what's hilarious is she gets a call from the pit boss, and the pit boss tells her he just bet big again, the count right when the count went up. And then she goes, I heard her while I'm BSing with the dealer. I hear her go, I told him to.
Are you banned 100% from any places?
So usually when they ban you, they just tell you can't play blackjack, because they would love for you to go and sit down at roulette or baccarat or something like that. So usually they just ban you from specifically blackjack.